Iran military chief has said that the attack is over and Iran doesn't wish to continue strike. They said no intention to continue the operation, but Israel's envoy to India said that one child has been injured in Iran's attack. Now, this happened after Iran launched drones, missile attacks at Israel. Israel claims over 99% of the missiles, drones have been intercepted. Let me go over to my colleague Vishnu Shom for more on this story at this hour. Vishnu, while Iran says that the attack is over, Israel has clearly said that we will win. What kind of offensive can we expect further, or we will see peace in the region?
Well, I think everybody would hope for peace in the region, but it really depends on what the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu chooses to do right now. Remember, he is politically in a fairly difficult situation. There have been large-scale protests against him of late. Now, whether those protests influence his action against Iran is something that needs to be seen. However, there is, some would suggest, a real opportunity for taking an exit ramp at this stage to ensure that the situation in West Asia doesn't escalate. And let me explain why. Iran launched its attack on Israel using hundreds of cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, and killer drones. 99% of those have failed. Israel's tiered defense system worked entirely. This being the case, Tehran will realize that this mode of attack on Israel has failed to achieve any objectives whatsoever. However, if Israel were to attack Tehran, Israel were to attack Iran at this stage, Iran doesn't possess the same sort of defensive network that Israel does. In other words, Iran would suffer heavily in terms of loss of life, loss of property, etc., etc. It is in this context that the Iranian chief of staff has said that they're done with their attacks, at least for the moment. It's now up to Israel to either accept that or not to accept that. In terms of options, Israel can actually not do anything. They've absorbed these hits. The hits themselves have achieved nothing against Israel, or they can choose to counterattack. If they counterattack, what is the level at which they actually choose to counterattack? Will it be a mass attack, or will it be a precision strike? If it is a precision strike, will it actually achieve anything substantive, or will it be largely symbolic to tell the Iranians that we can hit you when we want? So it's a difficult situation. The world doesn't want any escalation of this situation.
Right, thank you very much, Vishnu. Also, let's listen into Nar Gilon, the Israeli envoy to India.
There was unfortunately one casualty, a 7-year-old child, who she was hit by shrapnel from probably from one of the interceptors. We don't know exactly. She's Bedouin from the Negev, from the south of Israel, Muslim Bedouin. Unfortunately, she was wounded and she's treated, but in severe conditions still. We don't want an escalation, a regional escalation. At the same time, we cannot stand idle when people attack us. So we only retaliate, also with Hezbollah so far. If Hezbollah will escalate, they will meet escalation.
Well, joining me now, Peter McGuire, the CEO of XM Australia, keeping a close track on the impact of this, or the potential impact on crude prices. Thanks very much, Mr. McGuire, for being with us. Do you see this resulting in a huge escalation in crude prices, unless, of course, the situation diffuses within a period of time?
Well, good afternoon. And yes, I do. I think if it diffuses, we've got to look at a number of scenarios, as you've very well played out or explained. The first part is if it does subside and there's no, in the sense of that geopolitical hotspot and all of that tension, then one would say that the market may look at a $3 or $4 rise to the upside as far as a premium, and then it might just evaporate out. But if there was to be some form of retaliation, as Israel possibly is entitled to do, then that could change the total landscape in the sense of supply, the disruptions through the Strait of Hormuz, and all the impact that would cause globally to energy prices, which could certainly ramp up significantly from here.
So essentially wait and watch for the markets at this stage. Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, exactly right. We've got to wait until certainly New York opens and probably tomorrow morning in Asia trade to get a true indication how it all is going to feel. Gold you'd have to look at as well. You'll have to keep a close eye as far as US dollar and how the equity markets perform across Asia, and then rolling into naturally your good selves in India, and then across the Middle East, and then into Europe and then America.
All right, Peter McGuire, thank you very much for sharing those thoughts. It is wait and watch for the entire world at this stage at so many levels, but certainly crude oil prices, something we'll all have to look at very closely indeed. Thanks very much.
Thank you.